Hello, thanks for joining me, I hope you're well. Now, I'm just out having a little tickle. Again, we're in the Staffordshire Moorlands. It's just a little bit of a Sunday mumble, this one is. You know, a strange thing, well, it's not such a strange thing, just happened to me. And I'm not sure if we still do this anymore, do we? I'm not sure if it's a dying thing, I don't know. But I pulled over on my bike by the side of the road. I was just simply setting up my camera. That's all I was doing, making sure hopefully that it's working okay. And a fella pulled up in a Volkswagen. A Volkswagen like combi, like a camper van. And he slowed down and he said, "You alright, mate?" I said, "Yes, thank you, I'm just setting my camera up." He said, "Oh, as long as you're alright, yeah." He says, "Well, have a good day." And off he went. And I said, "Hey, thank you very much for stopping, but yeah, I'm okay actually." He said, "Yeah, good, well, have a good day, mate." And off he went. So, I'm wondering, now funnily enough, I did that to a lad just the other day. He was in the middle of nowhere, and he was on a little 125, and he was sort of turning it round in the road. It was a relatively narrow road, and he was off the bike, pushing the bike, and I think he was just turning it round. And I did the same because I didn't know if he'd broken down or not, and I said, pulled up, I said, "You alright, mate?" He said, yeah, I'm okay, thank you." And I said, "Are you sure?" You know, because it can be a bit embarrassing, can't it, particularly when you're young, you know. But he said, no, I'm alright, and off I went. And I left him to it. But I wondered if that was sort of dying out a bit, or do we still stop and ask people if they've broken down like they always used to? Now, can I just say a big thank you to everybody who comments and likes and shares and subscribes to my little efforts here. It is much appreciated. I don't really bang on about subscribing and that, you know, if people like this sort of content, if they like little mumbles, they'll subscribe anyway. But for those that have, I'd just like to say a big thank you. Thank you very much. And there's one or two things that I thought when I came out I might just comment on. Some of them in the comments section, and some random thoughts that, you know what I'm like. I'm full of them, aren't I? Full of random thoughts. So where do we start? Right. Okay, now about a week ago I put out a little video that actually got taken down by YouTube. And essentially, it was, now I want you to bear in mind that this is very much tongue-in-cheek. It is a bit tongue-in-cheek, this, but having owned a classic 350, and now I've got this Bullet 350, I was sort of, I don't know if I'm convincing myself, I'm probably not convincing anybody out there in the big wide world, but I was sort of saying that I think this is a better bike than the classic 350. Now, don't forget what I said, it's tongue-in-cheek. But there's just one or two things that I like about this classic 350 that support my argument, if you like. Ooh, what about that? Support my argument. Oh, way up, we've got a Palestinian flag, I think that is, isn't it, eh? Hey, let's not get into that. So, my arguments, Your Honour, are this. One, the Royal Enfield Bullet has been in production. I'm going to keep it short, I'm not going to go on for hours about this. The Royal Enfield Bullet has been in production since 1932 in one form or another. The classic 350 hasn't. The Royal Enfield Bullet has a better seat. It's more comfortable than the classic 350, and that's not to say that the classic 350 seat is uncomfortable, because it isn't. It's wonderful. But this seat, well, it's the best seat I've ever had on a motorcycle. As the Americans say, period. I never quite knew what that meant, but still. I think it means full stop. So in my view, this is the best seat. Let's go that way. It's the best seat I've ever had on a motorcycle. The Royal Enfield Bullet has the fuel tank, the stripes on it are painted by hand, whereas on the Classic it's like stickered up. It might be stickered up really well and really nicely, but it's stickered up. Yeah, you're right, that's not a technical expression, because I don't know how they paint the tanks, but I can see brush marks in my tank, and I like that. It shows a human touch, and when you see them do it on the YouTube vids, it's wonderful. Let's put that down a little bit. What else have I got in support? I like the looks of it. I like the black paint, the traditional blacked out bit. Now, you may not. You may think that the Classic 350 is the way to go because of the colour schemes, because of the double seats. You know, you can take the back seat off, and I think that looks grand on a Classic 350. So, and we all know that essentially they're the same bike. You know, I mean, okay, I've got a square air filter cover, and we know it's not the air filter, but there's, you know, mine's square and the Classic's oval, isn't it? The back mudguard on this is squared off, whereas on the Classic 350, and I'll give you that, I quite like the mudguard on the Classic 350. I do, I really do. I sort of prefer it, but I see where they're going with this. But overall, I think simply because this is a Bullet, this is the original. That's why I like it. That's why I like it. Now then, one thing, so that's me rationale, my argument, that's my case, you're on it, make of it what you will, and that's my argument. Okay, so, you know, I love these little tickles around because I never get tired of it, because I can always find somewhere new to go. I've come off this road there, I've no idea where this goes to, I haven't got a clue, and that's the beauty of these little bikes, that's the beauty of probably motorcycling generally. You can't go wrong, can you? You know, and I love these autumnal days. They're probably my absolute favourites. It's blue skies, it's bright sunshine, autumnal colours, the trees are changing colour, and there's a slight nip in the air, but it's not so cold to be worried about. In fact, I've even got I've still got my ventilated summer gloves on, but I have to admit that my winter gloves are in my top box. But I just love these days. They don't last for long, and before we know it, we'll be in winter, and it'll be proper dark nights, and the hour will go off. Does it go what? Yeah, it goes off in winter, doesn't it? So we lose an hour, and we'll be back to a few months of looking out the window at the rain. But right, to get back to my mumblings, one of my mate in France, Pete. He was on I mentioned in the review that I did last week, so thank you for all those that watched and commented on that. But I remember where this is now. But he said to me that I was saying these Seat tyres on the Bullet and the Classic are wonderful. They're perfectly up to the job, and I still stand by that. I think they are. But he was telling me that he said they will go off quite quickly though. This was just his opinion, so it'll be interesting to hear what you thought. apparently he said they go off, and they won't turn in quite so, and you'll soon feel them go off, you know. And he was recommending a set of Metzlers on them once that happens. Well, at the moment, Pete, mine are okay. I've no real plans to change them, but if they did go off, I mean, is that a temperature thing perhaps, or is it just that no, you know, you'll get a couple of thousand out of them, and then even though they're showing lots of tread, they will go off. So what's your experience of them? Is it worth changing the tyres on these things? It wasn't so much I planned to do, but am I going to be forced into that sort of behaviour? You know what I mean? Will they go off? I don't know. There was another comment, you know, there's a couple of comments who said, one lad said, I think he said he'd got 5 bikes. I think he got 5 bikes in the garage. And the one that he tends to ride more than anything is his classic 350. And who can blame him for that? Another lad, I remember, he was saying he'd got a Rocket 3, and he was about the same age as me, and I think he'd retired. And he said, but more often than not, again, or was he just wondering about getting a classic 350? I can't remember. But he wouldn't regret it. If you do this sort of stuff, it's fine. I mean, a Rocket 3 is handful, isn't it? Now, another random thought popped in my bonds, and it was this. Oh, do you know, the other week I was on about the BSA Gold Star and how I nearly bought a BSA Gold Star, and I didn't ultimately, because I guess mostly because of early teething problems, but more than that, the dealership network seems to be in a bit of turmoil at the moment. And what I didn't tell you was I had been to, there was another local dealer to me in Rugeley. Some of you may know it, a place called Rugeley in Staffordshire. Great people down there. I actually called down to see him, and he said to me, oh, I haven't got any in stock, but we've got the wrap coming and I'm going to order some, and you know, blah de blah. And he said I'm going to order some Bantams, and I'm going to order some of the Scramblers, and you know, I'm going to get a few. Well, we're a month later now, and I thought, to be honest, I thought it'd be good for put on the channel, and yeah, I thought I'd be interested in it. So I thought I'll have a ride on the Bantam, and I'll ring him, because he was, you know, they seem great, and I'll tell him what I'm doing, and you know, what's the worst they can do? They say no. I don't want you vlogging it. I don't want you having a my bike for that purpose. But anyway, I rang him up and I said, have you got a demonstrator for a BSA Bantam? No, we've parted company with BSA, he said. I said, oh, you were ordering some the other week? He said, yeah, I know. He said, the rep came, and we had a bit of a, you know, there was a few words, and we're no longer with BSA. That was the thing. They've terminated our contract. So that's another one. Another BSA dealer out of action. You have to ask yourself, you know, what's going on with BSA and the dealership network? It seems an absolutely, it's catastrophic, isn't it? It's you'd be better off having a few strategically placed, rock solid dealers dotted around, wouldn't you? Than these dealers that come and go. Something's amiss, something's wrong, isn't it? I'm not privy to what it is. Perhaps somebody out there can shed a bit of light on it. but there's something definitely amiss with BSA, and the confidence in the brand is really suffering. And I'm not sure it's the... You know, we know that some of these bikes are going to have teething problems because it's early days for them. But at least we should have the confidence in the dealer to get it sorted once these crop up. And that's what's missing, in my view. That's the elephant in the room, the Achilles heel of them. You know, with a Royal Enfield, if anything crops up, it's going to be sorted. Notwithstanding the fact that when I was on my Classic, I did a vlog about this, that some of the Royal Enfield dealers aren't entirely happy what they're being paid for warranty work and that sort of stuff, because, you know, the amount that Royal Enfield apparently pay them isn't enough to cover the work that they do. They give them a set price. I remember when my mudguard, I had to have a mudguard replaced on a Classic, on a Classic 350. And the money, and Royal Enfield supplied them with a new mudguard, but the labour costs that they give them to fit it wasn't very reasonable. I think they were paying the rates they pay in India, and it didn't stack up here. And they were saying that if they did warranty work for Kawasaki, say, they were paid a proper rate. It was worth them doing, but with Royal Enfield it wasn't quite so. Well, to say it wasn't quite so lucrative is a little bit of an understatement. But anyway, I digress. BSA, what on earth's going on? You have to sort your dealers out. We'd sooner have half a dozen dealers, even if we've got to travel anywhere in the country, that we know is going to be there and we know is going to provide us with decent service. What do you think? Comments below, let me know what you think. They're not the first, are they? They're not the first people. That's a decent view, isn't it? That's a decent view. They're not the first to do this. Who can blame them? If you've got a platform, you've got to make the most of it. But let's think about the 350. What have we got? We've got this. We've got a Bullet. We've got a Classic 350. Agreed, very similar. Then we've got a Meteor, a cruiser type, a bit more laid back version. And we've got a Hunter, which from my understanding is a bit more of a road going version. Now, I do know a mate of mine's ridden the Hunter, and he said it was wonderful. He said it was so very different to the Bullet, to his Classic 350. So very different. So much, he said it felt lighter and more flickable and that sort of stuff. So perhaps I could do with a ride on a Hunter. But thinking of, so I'm just mentioning the fact that they're getting the best, they're getting the most bang for the buck out of the 350 and the J series engine, and we all know they've done the same with the 650, haven't they? They started off with the Interceptor, which I owned 4 or 5 years ago, probably when not long after they first came out, I guess. But and then there was a Continental GT. A mate of mine's just bought one of them. He's very, very pleased with it. Does look a good looking thing. Oh, there's a coup there. Hope he doesn't have a go at me. Oh no, it's a girl. Mind you, girls can have a go at you, can't they, as well? Girls. So, Interceptor, Continental GT, Classic 650, and Bear. I'm going to have a ride on some of these. I'm going to have a tickle around. Although I don't want to fall into the trap that I fell into last time, which was Oh, it's got a bit more power. I need a bit more power. Oh, what a wonderful bike. It's so much better than mine because it's a bit quicker and it's got a bit more pull. And what do? Go out and bought me Bonneville, didn't I? And as nice as it was, and yeah, sometimes it's nice to have a little bit more power. I mean, do I really need it? Of course I don't. Of course I don't. I'll have to leave my wallet at home, won't I? Because it's so easy to sign up to these things. And but anyway, yeah. So there's. So I'm gonna have to have a ride. I'll perhaps do a few little. When I call them reviews, it's a bit difficult when you're straight out of the showroom to do a review. And the other thing, and let me be open and honest about this, you don't want to mislead people, but can you imagine walking into a dealership and saying, I'd like to borrow your Hunter 350 please? Yes, and I'm going to do a vlog on it, is that okay? Yes, of course it is, that's fine, yeah, off you go. So then, let's say, and I'm not suggesting it's going to happen, you ride round and you think it's crap. Beware of the YouTube review. Beware of the YouTube review. Because if I say it's crap, it's dreadful, it's the most uncomfortable thing I've ever sat on, it's gutless, it's got no power, it handles like a giraffe in the Antarctic. You know what I mean? If I come back and I slate it, can you imagine next week? Hey mate, can I borrow your classic 650? No, I don't think you can, really. I don't think you can. So, what we're saying, you can understand them. They're not going to lend you more bikes if you slate them. Not that you're going to slate many modern bikes, because they're all much of a much and so on. They're all pretty good nowadays. They've got stuff sussed. So the thing is, oh, here they're partying like the Red Sea. Thank you. But you have to be slightly wary, I think, slightly wary of a YouTube review. Ride it yourself, but even then, bear in mind that the bike's probably brand new with 100 mile on it, and you won't be getting the best out of it at that point. Pretty little road down here, on your way back down to, this is Dovedale in Derbyshire. Heading down to Dovedale in Derbyshire, just by one of the back roads. Oh, we all got a gate here. What's all this about? Oh, hang on a minute, Kitty. National Trust Thorpe Pastures, apparently. Okay. Right, let's have a look. Oh, goodness me. There she is, our little beauty. You don't need a Rocky 3 up here. You done it. Perfect, this is. Right. Oh, I wonder if there's any more of these gates up here. I don't know. Hey up, what's going on there? My bike's just died. Ah, it was when I put my side stand down, wasn't it? I didn't think it did that, but apparently it does. There you go. Right, I'll just clunk that. Thank you. So, I'm going to wish you well. Thanks for liking, commenting and subscribing and all that stuff. And look after yourselves. Get out while there's a last bit of vestiges of summer still available to us. Watch out for the potholes and the lunatic drivers. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.